To all the ladies in the place with style and grace, allow me to lace these lyrical douches in delicious.
Hey guys, welcome back to Make It in Dubai. This is episode 7 with me, Vignesh, and you have Shiv on the left or right side as usual.
Yep, let's begin, man.
Shiv, you and your always formal stuff. Let's begin, man. Shiv, okay, so I was just thinking about it, right? Now we spoke about what internship is like in Dubai. We spoke about how you can leverage entrepreneurship in your company. We gave a lot of golden nuggets here and there in the last 6 episodes, right? I think this episode we should talk about the diverse culture that Dubai presents for us, right?
Mm.
Because in your work environment, you have people from different culture. In my work environment, I have people from different culture. In my whole network as a whole, like the guy who I know, who's met Ty Lopez and who's been treated by the same doctor as Jordan Peterson and stuff like that, right? They're all from different places in the world, but I'm still able to bond with them because I have a certain understanding of how their culture works. So do you. I think we should explain that today. We should tap into what makes us understand their culture better, their accents, this and that. Just walk over everything so these guys understand the importance of knowing one's culture and why is that important for themselves so they can make it easily in Dubai, right?
Yeah,
What do you think about that?
yeah. I think you have more. You're more exposed to culture than me in that sense. I mean, even the way you consume stuff, like the stuff you watch. So I think it'll be interesting to see the perspectives. Because for me, it works in a bit different way versus how might it work for you. Because I have my own ways. I mean, you need to survive, right? So I have my own ways. We can talk about that as well.
Okay, so first let me tell the audience that's listening to us why is it important for you to understand different cultures. Now, Dubai is unique that way, right? Yes, of course, in the US, in Canada, and Australia, and the UK, you get different cultures as well. But the difference is that country has its own culture. Now, when we say Aussie, 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 and what do you reply, shit?
I
See,
if I
exactly
if I
what I
say
mean.
it this way, bro, people will run away.
No, I'm just
You
saying.
have to bang the desk, right? So you have to bang it also.
Yeah, I'm not going to bang my desk because my camera is going to fall out if
Yeah,
I do.
that's true. Yeah.
No, the point is, now Australia has its own culture, right?
Yeah.
Now you have the Barmy Army from the Great Britain that goes for football matches, that goes for cricket matches, right? Then you have your own United States of America that has its own stuff going on there, right? I don't even want to get into that, right? So when that kind of stuff comes, it's very hard for you to understand different cultures because there's a predominant culture there. Now, if you see the UAE, yeah, even though Emiratis exist here, it's predominantly expatriates, right?
Yeah.
So there's so many different people from so many different countries. Like I myself can name people from few. I'm just going to say regions now. You have people from Africa here. You have people from South America here. You have people from Australia here. You have people from Europe. You have people from North America. You have people from Asia. You have literally people from everywhere. You even have people from Southeast Asia as well, right? So it's like the whole diverse culture is what Dubai presents. Now, how can we use that, right? So I'll tell you how I used it. Because one, all your millionaires and billionaires are coming to Dubai now, right? That's a proven fact. Everyone's opening their hedge funds here, everyone's opening everything here because one, it's cheap labor. I won't say cheap labor, but comparatively, where you get a diverse culture, this is the cheapest place where you can hire people, right? And how can we leverage that? Because see, either you can be one of those guys who just get used by the people that move in here, or you can be someone who can leverage that for your own benefit and grow from that, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, now let's say you get to know someone from the UK. Why is that beneficial to you as a person? Because one, for me, the accent I have is a bit different. It's you can see it's a mixture of so many different fucking accents. It's like Indian and American. I don't know if I have British in it. I don't know. I'm just assuming here, right? But I know it doesn't sound like a normal accent. It's a very weird accent that I have. Now, at least when you talk here, people understand that you're from India. But now, how can we use that to our benefit? If let's say someone from the UK, right? Now I never knew the difference that people from Wales and uh, actual England, right? It's like I never knew that they had this rivalry going on between them. Yeah, now they're fine, but I never knew that if you call someone or are you Welsh? And let's say they're not Welsh, they're from England. They're like, what the fuck did you just tell me? Or if
Yeah.
you go tell someone, are you Irish? And they're like, did you just call me Irish? Even though for me, it's like it's part of the UK,
Yeah.
right? But that kind of stuff, which is something which you not understand.
Yeah.
So knowing those cultures will give into you, will give you certain insights that you can use for your own benefit by understanding. Okay, for example, this culture works this way, that culture works that way,
Yeah.
and you can use this culture to make sure that next time you have to bond with someone or you have to talk with someone from those cultures, you already know what they like, what they don't like, right?
Yeah.
So I'll give you a few real life examples that actually happened to me.
I have something to add as well.
Tell
Since
me.
before you begin the story part, since
Hmm.
stories will take a bit longer, I'd like to give a more context on why this whole diversity part can be more important. That there's a Trevor Noah, right? The
Hmm.
stand-up comedian. So he has a biography, and I was listening to the biography, and in that he mentions a part where, like entire, let's say, South Africa, there are different expats, which come out from there as well, like Zimbabwe or different regions. People come over there, and his childhood was in a way that it was in apartheid, where this
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
transition happened. So he mentioned a time when he was in an elevator, and there were different, different dudes in the elevator who were talking in a different language. Okay.
yeah.
Now, in their mind, they have wanted to rob him, and they're talking in a language where they kept talking the whole time. How can we steal from this guy? What should we rob? Do you think he has money? Doesn't look like he has money. They're talking about all this stuff, and then he looked back and he said, "Guys, I don't actually have money." So when he said in the same language, right, it mind fucked them. So he mentions the part that the moment they understood that I knew the language, even though I am a colored guy, like normally they have the colored skin guy and then a black guy. So he was a colored person over there. Even though when he spoke in the same language, these guys changed the way they looked at him. So
Hmm.
he mentioned the fact that if you know the language, it completely flips the game, no matter your skin color is same or not.
Exactly.
That is one. So that is one where he mentions the power of languages, and that is diversity as well. Now, in cases of, let's say, you can't go the extreme of knowing the language, because language takes a while to develop as well. So
True.
there's a second part which I like to mention is something called like a social norm versus a market norm. Okay, market norm is basically where, let's say, you are at a dinner table, and let's say you have a wife and you have a mother-in-law over there who's serving you food, and then after the whole dinner, you give her, let's say, 100 dirhams.
Hmm.
Imagine how she'll react. She'll like, what the fuck, what do you think like this is happening over here, right? That is a market norm. Versus, let's say after the whole dinner thing, you gift her something, let's say a bouquet or something of the sort. She'll
Hmm.
take it. Even though it's worth 100 dirhams, she'll still take it. The value is same, but the way of it being said is different. One is a social way, one is a market way. Now, what happens when you talk to people at work or outside? There's two ways of talking. One is the work way, where you talk about the major stuff which is happening. That's a market norm. But the moment you try to bring their culture in, talk about certain references you've seen from their culture, or talk about these stuff, it becomes social. So when it becomes social, it changes the whole dimension of how people look at you, how things operate around you, because you're not the market guy anymore. So for them, there's a more comfortable personality or comfortable environment around. So this flips the whole game. So that's the perspective I want to give before we start the whole story part, because it's really important, this whole culture part, even though I don't understand, but it adds a lot of value and a lot of the environment changes around this thing.
True, definitely agreed. Like for example, right now, I was standing once waiting for an elevator. Right now, I've met so many different people from in like so many different cultures in the UAE. So I was just waiting in the elevator with someone, and that person was just talking and walking around, and the way they were talking, I knew they were from South Africa, right?
Mm.
And I used to have a best friend who used to be in Abu Dhabi as well, right? And we used to be good friends at one point of a time. And he was from South Africa as well. So I learned a lot about their culture. And so this person was talking about something. I'm like, "Are you from South Africa?" She was like, "Yeah, I'm from South Africa. How do you know?" I'm like, "Ah, your accent gives it away." She's like, "Oh, really?" And she's like, "Have you been to South Africa?" Now, a lot of people will say, "Yeah, I've been to South Africa. I've been to Cape Town. I've been to Johannesburg. Stuff like that." But I said, "Yeah, I've been to Joburg." Now, Joburg is something which someone who knows the culture uses, right? "Yeah, I've been to Joburg. Yeah, I've been to Cape Town." Right?
Mm.
Oh,
Mm.
by the way, did you try? There's some. So South Africans love this place called Steers, which is like
Mhm.
a burger joint in Dubai. Oh, I think it's in all over UAE as well,
Okay.
and they love it, right? So I was like, "Oh, have you ever tried Steers?" And she's like, "Oh, I fucking steers, the sauces and the burgers. Oh, they opened a new joint in Marina. Did you try that out? And see, it was like immediate connection, right?
Yeah.
And I had a fellow board member standing next to me, and I had one of my other colleagues standing next to me. They all looked at me like, "How the fuck did you know?" And I was like, I was just flexing around like I know my shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But how do you know it though? How did
I
you even
I
know?
don't know, man. It's just I've been see. My whole point is to understand people from different places. That the way they talk, I just kind of know. Like for an example, I'll tell you another example. I was waiting for someone in the elevator. Again, it's always the elevators where shit
Yeah.
happens for me. I was standing in the elevator waiting for someone, and this person goes in front of me and they start talking. Now, I've learned French, but my French is not like
It's
the only
got
thing I know in French is je ne parle pas français. That means I don't know how to talk in French. That's the only thing which I know,
yeah.
right? But when someone's talking to me in French, I know it's French. And if someone's talking to me in Spanish, I know it's Spanish. Now, if someone's talking to me in Portuguese, I know it's Portuguese because I've got exposed to those cultures, right? And it's very important because if, let's say, if someone's talking in Portuguese and you know it is Portuguese, and you tell them, oh, you're talking in Portuguese, where are you from? Are you from Portugal or Brazil or something like that? They'll be like, wow, do you know Portuguese? I'll be like, no, but I had this experience because I've been to Brazil and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So now, and I know people from Portugal in Dubai as well. I know people from Brazil in Dubai as well. So that connection is there. I know people from Colombia in Dubai, so I know a little bit of Spanish. So that gives me the different wide range of cultures. Now, so that immediately gave me a bond with this person, and I asked them what they do. They said they work in real estate, and I said, "Oh, I have some stuff which I actually need to sell off in North Cyprus. So you want to come and help me out there?" They're like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So that immediate bond happened there, and it's not like I knew this person. It's like a 35-40 second conversation, but it's your observation that matters. And how was I able to do it? It took me like 4 or 5 years of mingling with different cultures in Dubai. So it's
Mhm.
easier for me to bond with people now. It's not just people from Latin America or Europe, even Africans, because I had people like friends here from Zimbabwe, from Nigeria, from Botswana, and like I said, from South Africa. So even if someone like now, if anyone comes in, I know they from Africa. I ask them, "Oh, where are you from?" And if they say they are from Nigeria, right? And I look at them and I go, "Do you speak Yoruba?" Now, Yoruba is Nigeria's main language, and they say, "No, I speak this language." Oh, yeah, I do speak Yoruba. Then I
Yeah.
tell them, then they ask me, how do you know Yoruba? Like, how do you even know that? I said, oh, because I have a lot of like, Nigerian friends and they tell me, and I've been to Nigeria once as well. Now, I
Mm.
got that opportunity to go to Nigeria because of Dubai,
Yeah.
right? Because I understand the culture and they told me, okay, this guy knows a bit about the culture, let's send him there. Might be my mistake. They don't like it there. It's a nice country, nice food, but not for me. But the fact that I was able to understand their culture is why I got that opportunity to go to that place and to showcase that I have the skills to mingle with those people. Same thing with Zimbabwe. And I asked them, like, okay, in Zimbabwe, I know there's this word called Salibonani, which means what's up, right?
Yeah.
And there's another word called Makadi and stuff like that, right? And I'm like, when I say stuff like that, they're like, holy shit, man, how do you know about all of this? I'm like, because I have friends from Zimbabwe. Really? Oh, where are they from? And I tell them it's either Harare or Bulawayo, and they're like, what the
The
fuck?
question is, how the fuck do you remember these many words and these many stuff? Because even I might experience a lot of things like these. But bro, it's not that easy to remember that kind of stuff. Like, do you follow anything, or I don't know? Like, how do you do that?
I don't know, man. I don't. I mean, see. I think maybe I'm just naturally a very curious guy, and I love bonding with people. I love talking to them. I love expressing that I know their culture. So it's very important for me to retain that information. That okay, next time I find it with someone, it's not just with them. Even with someone from Southeast Asia, like for example, I'm a big fan of KSI and Sidemen and stuff like that, right on YouTube, and I watch their React videos, and people might say it's wasting time, but it's about how you consume the knowledge that matters, right? Now, one of the sidemen, they were reacting to this video called um, Things Which Are Weird in Other Cultures That You Might Find Common, right? Now I'm thinking, this is an interesting video, let's watch it. And the first thing I saw was they say that for people from Thailand or in Thailand, the first time you meet them, there's no physical contact. There's no handshake. There's no hugs. There's no high five. Nothing like that. It's just your normal what's up, or like they say Saudi crab or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the difference is now I have someone I can actually cross check this with. So I said, okay, you know what? One of the people I know in my company is from Thailand. Let me go ask her if this is true. And the next day I go to the office. I go tell her. Uh, no, I mean I go ask her. I'm like, when I interviewed the first time, right? When you came into the office, I gave you my hand. Why didn't you tell me that's not part of your culture? She's like, how did you know that? It's I'm like, because I watched this video. They said that if it's the first time you're meeting someone, Thai people don't like feel like the physical touch. Is it true? She's like, yeah, we usually just go, we just say Saudi Krab, and it's like the more you get to know the person and shake hands, hugs happen. But she's like, since we are in Dubai right now, I can't expect people to understand my culture. I said, but the thing is, the fact that she said, because I'm in Dubai right now, I can't expect people to understand my culture. And imagine you're one of those people that can actually understand the culture and
Yeah.
you do it.
Yeah.
That changes the game. Now imagine she comes to you and you just do this and you just saw the crowd. She'll be like, what the fuck? How
That's
did you
uh,
know? Right?
that's instant credibility right there.
That's one, right? Now, another thing is Filipinos. There's a majority of Filipinos in Dubai as well. A lot of people talk to them, a lot of people understand them, a lot of people know certain words, right? But if you meet someone who, let's say, comes up with a business opportunity or something and they say they're from the Philippines, it's not about knowing those words, it's about how you use it, right? Or if someone says, oh, I'm from the Philippines, you're like, really, you're from Philippines? Yeah, that's nice. I have a lot of Filipino friends. Oh, really? What do you know about Philippines? Oh, I love the food you guys have. This thing called adobo. I've tried that with my friend. There's a lot of vinegar and chicken, right? It's fucking amazing. They'll be like, oh, you know adobo? Yeah, I know adobo. It's like, that thing matters, right?
Yeah.
The knowing the culture matters because it'll help you bond with people. Now, the more people you bond with, the more opportunities you can create for yourself because they have the trust in you, thinking, okay, this person understands my culture, this person is open to understanding my culture, which
Yeah.
means I can trust this person because this person is open to finding new opportunities.
Yeah.
I can believe this person or I can entrust myself in this person because this person will grow for sure. He will find or she will find any opportunities they have in their hand to grow because they're open minded that way. Because
Yeah.
no person that's not open minded will not observe culture, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I think observing culture is very important. And it's given me a chance to travel to Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Brazil, Serbia, Croatia, a lot of different places for business.
Mm.
Only because I was able to show that I'm open minded for learning different cultures and bonding with different cultures.
I think I've learned a lot about the culture aspect from you as well. Because if I recall, right, let's say, even remember the fact you mentioned one time about the Family Guy and how much culturally
Oh, fuck.
aware you get through Family Guy. Because I never used to watch this kind of stuff. And there are a lot of clips which come from Family Guy. You get to know, okay, Asians driving, or like lot of different references which comes in, and that actually helps because if it's in a visual format, and for me that's how I actually got more exposed because you used to watch that, and then certain clips I watch as well, and then it's easier way to remember because if it's visual for me, like it's easier to remember, right? The
Bro,
whole
remember,
driving bit. Sorry.
because of Family Guy, like you
Yeah.
said, now people watch Family Guy to laugh. I watch Family Guy to understand different cultures. Because see, Seth MacFarlane is the kind of guy that actually brutally fucking puts it out there. He doesn't give a shit. Now, you can look at it and get like offended by, oh fuck, he's making fun of my culture. Or you can sit there and see what is the most stereotypical thing that people say. Now, remember, Shiv, when we both are watching this documentary called Carl Icahn, the
Yes.
Untold Billionaire Story or something like that? That
Yeah.
was a fucking beautiful documentary. Now, when Carl Icahn came, you've never heard of him, I've never heard of him. We saw him, and I saw his nose, right?
Mm.
Now,
Yeah, yeah,
people
yeah. I
make
remember.
fun of Jewish people's nose so much, bro. They do it themselves. It's not just me. They do it themselves. So it's funny, right? So I saw that, and what did I tell you? I'm like, bro, I am 99% sure this guy is Jewish. And you
Yeah.
said, what makes you say that? I said, I'm not going to tell you, but just Google it. And when you Googled it, what did it say? Carl Icahn was Jewish.
Jewish, yeah.
And you were like, what the fuck, bro? And I was like, yeah, man.
Yeah, so I asked you, how the fuck did you even know? And you said
Yeah.
nose. I'm like, when I started looking at the nose,
I
I was like,
told
okay,
you
you know
because of
what?
his nose.
Yeah, yeah. That was a good insight, because normally these things you won't notice. Like, I didn't even notice the nose before that. But after that, you know what? I was like, nose plays a big part in understanding if a person is strong as well.
Bro, I'm telling you, man. It's like there's so many different things about one's culture that you can know. Even if, let's say, but most of the people I met here right now, let's say I've never been to Uganda, right?
Hmm.
But I talked to someone who's actually from Uganda, and they told me a lot about Uganda. And now, if I talk to someone else and I tell them this knowledge, they'll be like, "Have you been to Uganda?" I'll be like, "No, but I just have people." That instant connection, right? Even someone did that with me. Uh, remember the owner we went to? We spoke to him and he said, "Oh, where are you from?" I said, "I'm from Chennai." And he said, "Oh shit, I've been to Chennai as well. I've stayed in this place, that
Yeah,
place." And
yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's like nice to talk to him because he has that. He did that like without any reason. Yeah, it just happened to him. He had no idea what he's doing. But imagine you're an individual that knows, okay, knowing someone's culture can give me this kind of benefit, so let me do it consciously to
Yeah.
try to understand what's happening. Like many of my friends here are from different places, and you never know where they're from. But the more you get to know about them, the more you understand about the different cultures that are present, how the world works, and three, how you can use it for your benefit. Because I've always told you, right? Hopefully, one day I have a business in Africa because a lot of Chinese businesses are moving there. That means there must be a lot of profit, this and that. So we should try that out. And so when I
Yeah.
keep telling you stuff like that, I'm like, okay, now the more African people I meet, the more I understand about the market without even going to Africa. The more
Yeah.
Southeast Asian people I meet, I understand about Southeast Asian market, Latin American market, North American market. It gives you a perspective, and that perspective is what Dubai offers you. So I think it is important for everyone here to take that step and understand. Even our neighbor. Remember, I told you the first episode. I saw him with the basketball and the T-shirt. He looked American as fuck.
Yeah.
Then I asked him, "What are you doing here from the U.S.?" He's like, "What gave it away that I'm from the U.S.?" I'm like, "Man, you have a typical basketball and thing on you, and your accent gives it away." And he's like, "Yeah, man, from the U.S. Where are you from?" You know, and better than that, one of my other experiences when I was in this exhibition, right, and someone came up and started talking to me. He was a 6'3" black man with Indian outfit.
Hmm.
So I'm like, I was like, what the fuck am I seeing, right? Where is this person from?
Yeah.
Is he from India? Because I don't know, sure shit doesn't look like he's from India. But I'm like, he's giving me Indian vibes, but he's not. But I'm like, okay, let me talk to him. I'm like, nice outfit, man. He looked at me, he's like, oh, thanks. And I'm like, okay, the thanks just told me that he's from the US. I'm like, what's an American guy doing wearing Indian outfits, man? It looks very, looks like, I've never seen that. It's the first time I'm seeing it. And he's like, oh, man, Indian outfits amazing, man. So comfortable and stuff like that. And I was like, then the connection started happening.
Hmm.
Then he said, I asked him, where are you from? He said, I'm from Kansas. Now, anyone who watches DC Comics know Kansas City is the city of super fucking man, right? The Man of Steel. Now I watched it and I'm like, same place where Superman's from, huh? He's like, yeah, man, you can call me Superman too. Because, see, now the thing is, you know about that. And another thing is because sometimes I read news on what's happening with American football. Now that's a completely different football that they have. So I know because the actor who was playing Superman supported the Kansas City team and they won the cup and stuff like that. I just read it somewhere. So I said, oh, congratulations, man, you guys won the cup as well. He's like, yeah, man, you follow American football. And I was like, nah, I don't. I just read it about it. I'm like, Tom Brady's a goat, right? He's like, it's like a stereotypical thing that if you go to any American who watches American football and you talk about Tom Brady, they're like, yeah, man, that guy's a legend. Or if you talk about basketball, you tell them about Steph Curry, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, that kind of stuff. And if
Hmm.
you go about baseball, and if you tell them, yeah, baseball, I don't follow that much. I don't know that much, but I just know baseball is MLB, Major League Baseball. I know that. It's like that kind of culture that you learn from different TV shows, this and that. Use it, consume it, and make sure that you're able to actually make it actionable. So in that way, you get many opportunities to bond with different people. That's the whole point of the story. And this can happen from universities. This can happen from your work. This can happen from your family, friends, your own friends, anybody. But make sure you do that because this will actually open new doors for you that you don't even understand. So yeah, that's my experience
For
there.
you personally, when you do this now, right? Like before this, I think it might be like a bit unconsciously you might be asking people question about their culture and all that kind of stuff. But since now you are in that mindset and you ask from the perspective of understanding the culture, so you can use as a reference later, right? So in that sense, has anything changed in the way you approach this piece? Like since consciously you're doing it, so the way you ask certain questions or the way you go about certain things, has it changed or is it the same?
It's the same, but now the difference is I'm in a position of creating business opportunities for myself. So I asked them before. I used to just ask them, "Oh, where are you from? Oh, you're from this place. Oh, I know something from there. Oh, really? Yeah, that's it." But now I'm like, "Oh, you're from this place. Oh, I know something from there. There's a lot of business opportunities in that area of stuff, right? How are you dealing with it? Oh, are you in the same kind of business stuff? Or you're in a different business industry? What industry do you work in?" And I changed the whole topic into a business opportunity.
Okay.
That's how it works, right? And yeah, so I feel like right now I'm in a place where I'm using my knowledge of understanding one's culture and language into a business opportunity, like turning that into a business opportunity is what I'm doing. And
No.
even for the fact my dad speaks Arabic, right?
Mm.
Now, the fact that my dad speaks Arabic has given him a lot of leverage amongst the Emiratis here. Like, I mean, he stays 600 kilometers away from me, that's a different story, but the fact that he's been here for a long time, he's understanding how the language works, he's understanding how the culture works. Now he's taken that extra step in learning the language. Now that's hard for me. I'm able to understand the language, like not just Arabic. I can understand if someone, like I told you, I can find out the difference if someone is talking to me in Russian, German, Spanish, Portuguese. What else? What other languages do we know? Hindi or any Indian languages also, right?
Yeah.
So that gives you that perspective, or even Chinese as well. So, but for him, he learned Arabic, and he's now if he talks to another uh, person who knows Arabic, that instant connection will be there because you just reply to them in Arabic, and they'll be like, "Yo, what the fuck? You know Arabic?" You're like, "Yeah, I know Arabic." Like, holy shit, how? That bonding that matters a lot. It might be a general information that I'm giving out, but this is something I've used for myself, and you used it as well, bro. Because remember before when you used to come in, you never understood the accent as much, right?
Yeah.
But now you're able to understand any fucking accent because you met people from the UK, you met people from Malta, you met people from Ireland, you met people from Malaysia, you met people from so many different places.
Yeah, I think it shapes over time as well. Because at the beginning, it's a bit overwhelming, and you're not sure how to deal with it. But eventually, it's like a cold water. When you touch it, it's like fuck, it's so cold. But then slowly, when you start getting into it, right, you still sync with it. And plus, I think, it's the way how you expose yourself to. Like you make yourself a bit vulnerable, is what I believe. Because
Yeah.
the thing is that if in your mind you don't believe this stuff, or if you don't if you don't put an attempt for it, this won't shape up. Because I can still
True.
talk the same way, I can still walk the same way, I can still do everything the same way. But then again, it takes a lot of effort in a sense. Because I'll tell you about me. What happened is that even now it's not as smooth as you, because I think you go more smoother in the sense of bonding with people across borders. For me,
Right.
it's a bit tricky. Like I have a limited exposure to, let's say, the countries I can talk to. Let's say if someone comes from, let's say, Costa Rica, or some XYZ place I don't know about, I still don't know how to gel up with that. I have certain countries I know about, certain countries I don't. So in that sense, right, what I've tried to do over time is watch a lot of stand-up comedies. So my way is basically stand-up comedy brings in like a lot of different perspectives, and it's a very local perspective. So let's say if you watch like a British comedy, like stand-up comedy, they talk about a lot of British stuff. Of course, you need to go and Google a lot of stuff to even try to make sense of it. It's a lot of effort at the beginning. So, but eventually it tries to shape up. That's why I said it's like an effort game. But once you gel well with it, right, it's easier. So that's why American stand-up comedy or British comedy is still more accessible, and it's you can understand some stuff. The more you go for a smaller country, it becomes a bit tougher. So in
True.
that case, what I do is I go for so Tai Lopez had this model, and I bought his course. So I have to accept that fact. I got his course. I paid for it. He actually had some value in that. Okay, I was going for a low point in my life, so at that time I want some motivation. So his ad popped up. I
Hmm.
clicked it. It was nice. I bought a course. He mentioned this one part where there are four parts to life. There's a health, wealth, love, and happiness. Okay, so now what I do is, if I meet someone outside my culture, I know that these four parts are common for everybody. Okay, so let's say health. If they're smoking, I ask like has it been long since you're smoking, or like these kind of questions. Or let's say something about how much money is enough money, or let's say if you see that person is wearing something different, you ask something about that. So those are some common points I observe, and then I try to put in these placeholders, like like whichever goes in. Even something with the weather, like if I'm having an interview with someone and I don't know the culture, okay, it's so tough for me to understand the culture. So the first question I'll ask is, yeah, in Dubai it's pretty hot, like so how is it in, let's say, some other part, like Russell Kama, is it still hot right now? How exactly is the weather? Or even let's say somebody who's outside that, let's say someone in Sweden, how's the
Hmm.
weather? That's the most common icebreaker, because weather is common. So I try to go by the things which is like we have in common. That is more easier for me to pick up if I don't have anything else to say. So I use this hybrid model where if I know shit, I talk about a reference. If I don't have, I go for the common points.
Now imagine if you use that hybrid model and you go a level deeper and you actually try to understand their culture, bro.
Yeah.
That will change the fucking game for you.
So I
So
try to
that's
do that, but that needs more time with that person, and you need to go more deeper. Like it's
it's just about um, so let me see if I can come up with a framework on the spot for people to use. It'll be one, understanding what that culture is mainly surrounded with. Like, for example, right now, if you come into a Middle East region, you know that the Middle Eastern culture is mainly surrounded by the fact it's an Islamic country and it's surrounded by the whole anything that is brought on or anything that is done is surrounded by the fact that it's an Islamic country and they're religious based, right? So if you can try identifying like 3-4 points on what that culture is surrounded by or what that culture is made of, the foundations of that culture, I think you'll be able to see a lot more. Now, there's a lot of Family Guy jokes on how Jewish people love money, right? Now you think of that and you just look at it like, ha ha ha, it's funny. But then look at the amount of people that are making money in the US and see what their culture is, you'll see it's Jewish.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
So stuff like that. And now, people start laughing at, how Indian people and accent and this and that. But then see the amount of Indian people that move out of India to different countries and making it big. So you
yeah,
understand, okay, for Indians, hustling and making money is something that's there in their blood. So you can use something. It's like
yeah,
it gives you a foundation of what the culture is built on, right?
yeah,
So you can start from there and see what are the common points I can keep. Like physical features of someone from a particular culture, or mental features, right? Or financial features, stuff like that. You can just keep like a scale of it and then maybe follow it, right? It's because talking about that, right, I have two interesting stories. One on physical features and one on the oration, the vocal sound. So one of my best friends, he's from Tanzania with Indian roots and stuff like that. He's in the US now. So you should know this. I know. If I tell you something and you just go, that means you're like disappointed or sad or it's like unbelievable, man. What the hell? That's what that sound means for me. At least that's what it meant. But when so he was telling me a story and he was like, yeah, man, that guy did that to me. Can you believe that? I'm like, unbelievable, man. That guy's like, the fuck does it sound? I'm like, what do you mean? That I'm like, oh, that's just me showing my disappointment. He's like, in Tanzania, it doesn't mean disappointment. It means you're not listening. It means you agree with it. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? I'm like, means yes or something like that. In that context, I was like, okay, what the fuck? Never knew that. Now, knowing that kind of stuff will eliminate you from, doing shit that you don't want to do. That's one. So that was interesting to me. Another interesting one was when I met one of my clients from Dominican Republic. He came to Dubai for a visit and we went out for dinner. It was fun and all that. And I told him, yeah, in my office are people from Colombia and all that. And he was like, bro, fuck. You have people from Colombia in your office? I was like, why? What's wrong with that? He's like, man, the whole of South America knows. Colombian girls, the way they talk, their accent, their Spanish, it's fucking next level shit, bro. And I was like, I thought all Spanish were the same. He's like, nah, man. When Colombians, when they speak Spanish, it's something else, bro. It's like God sent them. And I was like, whoa, fuck, this guy's so passionate. And I'm like, okay. No, I didn't know that. Now, if someone from Dominican Republic comes again, or someone from another part of South America comes, I just talk to them like, oh yeah, I know people from Colombia and I know that their Spanish accent is something else, right?
yeah.
99% people will be like, oh yeah, man, I fucking agree. That kind of stuff. So yeah, this is like two interesting stories that I've had.
I think I have a better framework.
What?
And the better framework is find a guy like Vignesh, talk to him, and try to get all these kind of information. Because I'll give you an example. Okay, I think is you learn more from people who have experienced this scenario and who's from your same roots, and they can explain it in your way. I'll give you an example. Let's say, so when I had just joined my recent company, right, and we were pretty diverse. So we are having, let's say, a dinner. We're in Barasti, and so he was from Iran. Okay, his origin is from Iran. He's been to Malaysia and he's staying in Malta, and he's been to Germany. So he has that kind of exposure. We were sitting at the dinner table, and there was a lot of European colleagues as well, and he told me something that after the first drink, he mentioned to me that, dude, normally you're supposed to look in the eye of the person you're doing cheers to, because that's if you don't have an eye contact, they feel disrespectful. I didn't know this, but then no one will tell you this as well. So on the spot, right? Since we had European people sitting on there, I was like, let's validate this shit. So we asked, okay, I asked, is this true? They're like, yeah, fuck, this is true. So I was like, so that's something which you learn, not directly, because they won't say it as well, because they don't want to disrespect, that what you don't know what if you know it or not.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So in that sense, if someone has the same root or same background like you, and then through that person, like since that person already experienced it, it's a bit easier for you to digest that.
Agreed.
So I think that since let's say you were saying it, it's easier for me to digest that. So that's one of the framework which I don't know that's working for me. I realized that.
Because I learned all about this because of the people I met, right? There's not one story where I told you where, okay, I've learned all of this because of videos. Of course, Family Guy is the only video where I've learned a lot of American culture from.
Yeah.
right? And a bit of rest of the world as well, right? Like even Family Guy makes fun of people from India, but I learned more about India as well. They don't portray India as like a country with like culture, dance, Bollywood. No, they come there like you see that fucking cow shitting in the middle of the road. That's
Yeah,
India,
yeah, yeah.
right?
They
So
even put that red thing. They're pressing the red button and people
they,
are falling. That's like, I was like, what the fuck?
but the thing is that helps you understand that okay, this culture, this is important, that is important. It gives you a framework of what matters to that people or where they're from, and you can talk about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I would say that is very important as well. So hopefully the takeaway you guys have from this episode is understand people from different cultures and their backgrounds, their language. You don't have to necessarily learn the language, but at least try understanding how it sounds like. So you're able to spot people from those particular region and then break ice with them and have a good conversation, and hopefully that gives you a good business opportunity or money opportunity, right? Hopefully that
Yeah.
works out.
Perfect.
Perfect, guys. Hopefully you guys liked episode 7. See you guys in episode 8.
See you.